Welcome back. You're watching The Globe. The Department of Social Development, in partnership with the United Nations Population Fund, have launched the State of World Population 2022 report, focusing on the unseen crisis of unintended pregnancies. The report highlights the 121 million unintended pregnancies every year as a global failure of basic human rights and a neglected crisis. The State of World Population 2022 report reveals the scope and the impact of unplanned pregnancies on women, girls, households, societies, countries, and global development in general. Titled "Seeing the Unseen: The Case for Action in the Neglected Crisis of Unintended Pregnancy," the report states that nearly half of all pregnancies, totaling 121 million each year throughout the world, are unintended. In Southern Africa, 65% of these pregnancies between 2015 and 2019 were unintended, and 36% resulted in an abortion. Well, to help us understand this State of World Population 2022 report on South Africa, we're now joined on the line by Morongwa Serumula, who's the Assistant Director, Population Advocacy at the National Department of Social Development. Thank you very, very much indeed for joining us, and welcome to the program.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you for having me.
This unseen crisis, as it's described, why do you think it has been so under the radar, as it were, and yet it affects so many people?
Peter, I think one of the things that made it so so under the radar is because we have not prioritized prevention as countries. And one of the things that we need to do as a government department, we need to ensure that we listen to the voices of women when designing responses to the crisis of unintended pregnancies. We need to also have leaders that need to invest in research to do better understanding of the drivers and the impact of the unintended pregnancies, and to also ensure that people, especially both men and women, have access to contraceptives at work, that works for their bodies and their circumstances. So, all of these issues, we need to also make sure that leaders must promote gender equality in all areas of policies. And we also, from government individuals to individuals, we need to raise up the value of women and girls. I think those are the issues that needs to be tackled up to make sure that this unseen crisis needs to be brought outside. So we have a lot of issues that, a lot of voices that are unheard, and this is the time that we make sure that we leave no stones unturned. So bringing out all those voices that are not marginalized, especially making sure that we advocate at a level where everybody else is able to understand, provide information that is accessible and also that is relevant to all different levels of let's say, age groups.
When we talk about unintended pregnancies, it's quite a broad term, and perhaps some more sort of severe and terrible parts of this don't quite come out in that word. And I'm thinking that does this include forced pregnancies, child marriages and things like that?
Yes. Yes. There are a lot of things that there are a lot of factors that contribute to the unintended pregnancies. So we need also, Peter, when we talk about the unintended pregnancies, we are not only talking about the teenage pregnancies that we see also as a rise, but we're also including all the pregnancies that affect everybody else that has gone through unintended pregnancy, because maybe their sexual reproductive health and rights was not taken serious by either the government that they are under, or also where they are, like the departments that are supposed to make sure that we have access to everything that we have, every reproductive health rights that we are supposed to be entitled to. So we need to also understand that the unintended pregnancy is a personal issue. Like women, they need to have personal choices to say, I want to be pregnant or I don't want to be pregnant. And it's a health issue as well. Also, that's why we are also marginalizing this theme of unintended pregnancies, because now over 60% of these unintended pregnancies, as you have mentioned earlier on, they end up in abortion. So we can imagine that, this has become also a health issue as a result. So it's also a human rights issue as well as a development issue. So I'm not sure if I've answered your question, Peter.
Yes, you did. And I want to thank you very much indeed for joining us, for giving us some insights on this very important State of the World Population 2022 report that was released and launched today. And it's pretty grim reading. More than half of the 121 million pregnancies each year throughout the world are unintended, and it has huge consequences on the individuals concerned, but to society at large as well.